Hey guys, Pie Guy Rules here, and welcome back to Square Theory. Today I have a very simple question that doesn't appear to have a clear answer. Why is it that SpongeBob has never had a crossover episode? Nor has any other show ever had SpongeBob in an official crossover capacity on it. Sure, there have been things like Robot Chicken, but that's just a parody, not an official crossover, and though there have been video games like Nicktoons Unite and some of the crossover games on Nickelodeon's website, as well as some promotional material on Nickelodeon that has like all the Nicktoon characters together, including SpongeBob, there has never ever been an official crossover where characters visit SpongeBob's world or SpongeBob visits those other shows' worlds. That's never happened. Why exactly is this? Now, you might be thinking, well, it's easy to answer that, Pie Guy. It's because that would be awful. It would be incredibly weird seeing other characters on SpongeBob because SpongeBob has such a unique setting and tone and all that. It'd be weird to see, like, the Loud House characters show up on it or Jimmy Neutron or something like that. It would be awful. It would be cringy. It'd be strange, etc., etc. And I absolutely agree. I think it would just be an awful episode. I'm actually for SpongeBob doing a crossover, but not because I think it would be good, just because I think it would be so spectacularly bad that it would be a lot of fun to make a video about. But no, the thing is, even though it seems like such an obviously bad idea, it would make Nickelodeon a ton of money. It would get them a ton of publicity. It would get them tons of views. Whether or not it's good or bad, it doesn't really matter. It would just be a huge publicity stunt. And Nickelodeon is by far not above doing that. I mean, think about Atlantis Squarepants, Truth or Square, even something like SpongeBob You're Fired. These are episodes that are not good. They were overhyped. There were things that Nickelodeon did that made them not very good. By forcing the creators to do certain things and have things done in a certain way. But Nickelodeon went through with those anyway. So why is it that they wouldn't do a crossover? I mean, it just doesn't really make that much sense, just because it would make them so much money. So there are a few theories I have on this, and really that's all I have. I can't prove anything, but I guess this is Square Theory, so, I mean, that kind of fits. Theory number one is that perhaps there's something in Hillenburg's contract, or Hillenburg himself is against the idea of ever doing a crossover. After all, if he had some sort of veto power at some point, or to some level with the show, maybe he just automatically poo-pooed any idea of a crossover. Or maybe if not him, then someone else. After all, I mean, it's one thing that a regular bad episode gets through that might sound like a good episode in the pitch, but then, after it gets made and all sent out, it ends up being awful. But for a crossover to happen, if someone was vehemently against it from the very start, if someone were to try to pitch a crossover and, someone like Tibbet or whoever was like, no, we're not doing crossovers, or a Nickelodeon executive was like, no, we're not going to do crossovers, then maybe that's the reason. Maybe someone just knows that it's not a good idea, or it wouldn't be, it just wouldn't make for a good episode, and maybe someone cares. Another theory that I have is that SpongeBob has always kind of remained in a certain stasis. There has been a stoppage to any sort of world building. There has been minimal continuity nods, although, yeah, it's been getting more and more in recent times. The show has kind of just like stayed in its own little bubble. It hasn't really added actors or lost actors, minus Borgnine. It kind of just stays the way it is. So perhaps someone believes that if they were to introduce a crossover, it would just kind of mess with the status quo of things. Not that the show would ever have to have continuity and like have things change after that, but just that introducing that element even for an episode is just so out there for SpongeBob that it wouldn't work, or perhaps someone is afraid that it would be publicity, but maybe just publicity that's so bad that it could draw attention to SpongeBob in a really negative way. Maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of curious as to what you guys think, because this is an interesting topic that doesn't really get brought up a lot. Nickelodeon is not against doing crossovers at all. In fact, they just recently did one between Bunsen is a Beast and the Fairly Odd Parents in order to boost Bunsen's ratings. So I don't quite understand why they haven't done this, but perhaps someone really does care and someone does know that it's just a bad idea, regardless of what show they cross it over with or how it's done or whatever. It would just always feel wrong. Or perhaps there is some sort of corporate reason behind it, or maybe in someone's contract or something. Now, wait just a second, Pie Guy of the past. I had actually recorded this video a few days ago. I edited it. I had put it in the upload queue. It was all ready to go out today, but I realized something when I woke up. SpongeBob has technically never crossed over with any other show, but that's not to say that no characters from SpongeBob have done a crossover. Because bizarrely enough, Patchy the Pirate has appeared on Big Time Rush, the episode Big Time Party. Now, I can't claim that I've actually ever seen this. I just know of this thanks to the SpongeBob wiki, and maybe someday I'll review it if there's any interest in it. But I do know that technically a character from SpongeBob has made a crossover appearance. Now, I don't think that really invalidates this video because it's definitely not a standard crossover in that the main character of the show doesn't actually cross over, and none of the other characters, just a character that shows up in like one episode maybe every season or something like that. Maybe like 15 appearances across the whole all the years that SpongeBob has been running. So it's a little weird, but I guess Big Time Rush was that kind of show. It was kind of like a little bit cartoony, so it fits. I don't know. Again, never seen it, but I do want to make sure that you know that I know that there was that one weird crossover, and if you are interested, you can look it up. So, yeah. Before I finish off, though, another thing I kind of forgot to do was just talk about SpongeBob crossovers and what I would want if they had to cross over with a show. What shows do I think would be the best? Well, I think Fairly Odd Parents and Rocko's Modern Life would be the two shows that I think would make sense for SpongeBob to cross over with. The most sense, anyway. Fairly Odd Parents in that it already is a very flexible reality. There's a lot of wishing and magic going on, so I could see SpongeBob and Cruise showing up in Dimsdale or Timmy being transported to Bikini Bottom via some sort of really weird, maybe very specific, maybe very not specific wish. Now, I don't really want that to happen because given the current writing of the Fairly Odd Parents, I don't think it would be good. I think putting two shows of dubious writing quality that have, varying writing quality together is not necessarily going to make a good episode. But I do think that it would at least make sense, both in the fact that it would make sense in universe, but also in the fact that the Fairly Odd Parents is a show that's been around almost as long as SpongeBob. It's been the other kind of hanger-on Nickelodeon from the very early 2000s. So, yes, I know SpongeBob was 1999, but roughly same time period. So, yeah, I think it would make sense. I don't think it would be good. The other one is Rocko's Modern Life, and I still don't think this would necessarily be good, and I don't entirely know how it would make sense, but I do think that it would make sense from a story point of view because, Heifer is similar to Patrick, and the Big Head's Ed Big Head is similar to Squidward. You could definitely have a lot of fun there. Rocko has a boss that's mean and angry and money grubbing, and so he could meet Mr. Krabs and they could interact. There's a lot of similarities, especially because Hillenburg worked on Rocko. Some of the other same people worked on Rocko, Tom Kenny. So I think it would be cool. Now, Rocko's been off the air for like 20 years, even though there is a reunion movie coming on. So, I'm not saying that this is ever something that's going to actually happen, but I'm just saying thematically, I think Rocko would actually fit with SpongeBob a lot better than a lot of other shows out there. So if they had to do it, then Rocko would probably be the one that I'd want to see the absolute most. So with that, I would love to hear what you guys think. Would you want a SpongeBob crossover? Why you think they haven't done crossovers? And, and what you think of the idea of a SpongeBob crossover in general. So with that, Pie Guy rules. Out.